Today I'm going to speak about hyperactive children. Now, if you have a hyperactive child, would you consider giving that child the street drug speed? I would guess no. Well, let me tell you the story about hyperactivity and how this has become the case. And we have that very common problem happening where children are given those drugs. And I'll explain how that works. Shocking, but just stay there and hear what I have to say, and you'll understand why. And I will also provide alternatives, which are drug-free solutions to those problems. So if you have a hyperactive child and you've been bullied and told that you need to drug your child because he's hyperactive and he needs to be controlled, rest assured that problem can be solved. They don't need to be drugged, and I will explain. This is what this video is about. So a very active child is normal. There's no, if a child is very active, it doesn't mean that he's sick. And I will explain to you how this is turned into a sickness and a disease. So a normal children, they are very active, and when they're very active, and when they're under control, then everything is fine. When do they become hyperactive, in other words, more than active, it's when they are out of control. Now, for a child to become out of control, it's not something that is sort of bred in him or is in his DNA. That's not true. The child, you make them become out of control, and I will explain how that is done. All right, so they're not sick, they're not diseased. That's not true. So a common oppressive handling of a hyperactive child, a common thing that is done, which is very oppressive, is they use drugs to suppress that activity. There's too much activity, too much going on. The answer for this is drugs. Why do they do this, especially in a school? Why they do this? The objective of doing that, of drugging the children that they can't control, is to make learning possible and to make the class manageable. Right. So, and then, in order for you to be made to accept that drugging is okay, you're told that those drugs are harmless. Actually, as I said at the beginning, those drugs that are given are actually speed, the street drug speed. All right. What's the effect of those drugs? There's a 50% chance of the child becoming a drug addict. There's a high risk of suicide, there's a risk of depression, there'll be liver damage by the drugs, and obviously, they'll be seeing recurring illnesses, flus, colds, allergies, eczema, all these things will happen. Now, as a parent knowing this, would you take that risk? I guess no. And that's why I think you're listening to this video, and rest assured, I'm going to give you answers, I'm going to give you solutions. I'm Allan. I'm a nutrition expert. I've helped hundreds of parents help their children live a drug-free life and being taken away from this bullying action of being drugged. So there is some hope. Do not despair. I know many parents I've come across were in desperation, didn't know what to do. There was no answers given to them. Rest assured, I will give you the answers. Now, to back up what I'm saying, on the drugs here, this is a magazine here, Savamas. This is produced by the South African Police Services. This is a magazine by the police, and they've created a magazine here called Drugs and Occult Related Crime. So now, here it is here, a guide to abused substances. A drug group, what is the drug name? Methyl alpha, phenyl 2, piperidine acetate. The trade name, methylphenidate, Ritalin. Concerta is also methylphenidate. Street name, Speed. You'll get a picture of this at the end of the video. It's for you to get the evidence that this is what I'm talking about here. Here it is here by the South African Police Services. So this is a credible source of information that I'm giving you here. All right. So what am I going to cover in this video? All right. How you make a hyperactive child. How do they label them? How do they diagnose it so that they justify prescribing a drug? What are junk foods, and what are the symptoms from junk foods? Hyperactive children, they're actually victims of malnutrition, and I'll explain what is malnutrition, where you actually get the symptoms of colds, flus, and infections that creates them. And good nutrition, there are links that I'm providing with good nutrition. So you learn about good nutrition, and you're going to have the symptoms will disappear. So this is the scenario. The child arrives at school, had either no breakfast or had a sugar-loaded and carbohydrate-loaded cereal. So now what happens is when they eat the cereals, the blood sugar rises. So you get, I'm going to do a little graph here. So in the morning they'll have breakfast, let's say, and the sugar level rises, right? Normal sugar should be there, but the sugar goes way beyond normal, which is fine. So as long as there's sugar, it's fine, because the brain needs sugar, your muscles need sugar. Over and above having sugar, you also need minerals that will burn the sugar, which is potassium and vitamin B1. Potassium is a mineral, B1 is the vitamin. So B1 and potassium have to be present for it to burn that sugar. But now the sugar has gone way high now, and there's no nutrients there. So what happens is the body does not like when the sugar goes too high. So it sends in insulin to remove the sugar, and the sugar level drops below normal. When that drops below normal, another action happens. The adrenal glands now releases adrenaline. Adrenaline is saying, because the blood sugar level is low, adrenaline releases it to actually activate the liver to release sugar now from the liver to bring the sugar level back to normal. Or at that level, there's also the feeling of hunger. The child gets hungry. So this can happen within a matter of 30 minutes. Blood sugar goes up, normal child drops. So when that drops and adrenaline is released, that's when the problem happens. The problem, these are the symptoms that happen with the child, right? They can be yelling. These are the different symptoms. Some of them, or one or more, happen. Or they fight, they're fidgety, they're noisy, they're sobbing, temper tantrums, they distract others, they're distracted, they can't focus, they can't concentrate, because the blood sugar is low. When the blood sugar is low, there's no blood in the brain can't function. And if there's not enough vitamins and minerals, that even makes it worse now. So the body doesn't know what to do. So now the child has no control of the body. So the body is controlling him. So the body is hungry. The body wants to. So how can the child now be focusing outward? Where is his focus? His focus is like sucked inside now. There's no energy here. Because the brain has to have energy. If the brain does not have energy, you get blackouts. That's how people get blackouts, because they've run out of sugar. And when you run out of sugar, also you're going to get the symptoms of depression. So when you experience that now, the children are in the classroom now, they've got no brain energy, there's no muscle energy as well, because you need the same vitamins and minerals and the sugar for burning the glucose in the muscles as well. So the body is out of control. So in the classroom now is not manageable anymore, because this one child or two children or thing are being disrupted now. So now comes lunchtime now. What do they have at lunchtime? They're going to have a cool drink loaded with sugar. They'll have sweets, pastries. Pastries is carbs loaded with sugar. So what are we creating here? You are creating a time bomb. So now what do? Oh, you can't control the child. You suppress the child. You say, keep quiet. You smack him or whatever. So now comes the expert and tells you, well, this is actually, those symptoms are actually, we label them as a disease called ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So it becomes a psychiatric disorder now. So now your child now has become a psychiatric case now. It's like a mental case. That's what they're doing. They're not telling you this. So now they said, well, the experts will tell you we've used drugs, and we've used this drug now, which I explained to you, speed, which actually is a good thing for handling it, because it's going to calm the child down and suppress it. Basically, it just suppresses the child. So this is what happens here. So, and parents don't want that, because they don't want, knowing a little bit more, they say, no, I don't want to drug the child. What do I do? No answers are given. I'm giving you answers. All right. So what do you do? So the outcome, so when you get the child onto good nutrition, proper nutrition, which is balanced, here's the outcome of good nutrition. They'll be relaxed, like sacks of cotton. Their minds will be more alert, they'll be more attentive, they'll be interested, they'll be focused. The energy level is restored back to normal. So basically what happens with good nutrition, this yo-yo of sugar going up and down is leveled. So in other words, the blood sugar level stays the same. So there's no insulin to take the sugar out. The insulin, what it does when it takes the sugar away, turns it into fat. So you'll have children becoming obese. So when that is normal, everything comes back to normal. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring your sugar levels to normal. And what does this is nutrition. So I'm a nutrition expert, so I know how it does. I've helped hundreds of parents now. So you follow my advices and you will get the same results. All right. So what happens in nutrition, in summary, The foods that they eat is very high in phosphorus, like proteins, meats and all that are high in phosphorus. And what phosphorus does, the phosphates, it depletes calcium, magnesium. So when calcium and magnesium is depleted, the body can't relax. So with a good diet and good supplements, which puts calcium, magnesium in the body, puts potassium in the body. Potassium is for burning glucose, calcium, magnesium for relaxing the nerves, and it's balanced with phosphorus. The phosphorus is in proteins. You need proteins to build the muscles, to build your brain, to do all sorts of things for the body. So when that happens, the attention now is no longer on the body is calm and relaxed, the child can sit down, and whatever is being spoken to in the classroom or whatever he's reading, he can focus and concentrate. That's what you're doing. So you can create a child that is not hyperactive. The child is normal, there's nothing wrong with the child is not sick. But give him the right foods. If you don't know what are the right foods, I have links which I provide, which gives you all the nutritious foods, what they are, how to balance a meal. I give you information on brain food. The brain needs certain foods, so if you give the brain those foods, your memory gets better, your concentration gets better, your focus gets better, and you can focus a lot longer than that you normally do. So if you have the brain food. Junk foods is what destroys all these foods. Some information on allergies, on asthma, on flu and colds. Basically, it's the adrenal glands which are actually in trouble. I'll give you information on how to restore the adrenal glands so that you can reduce all the allergies that the child has. And I have a free health questionnaire that I provide, where you can write to me in the questionnaire, and I look at the diet and I advise on the diet. I've also written a book. This is the book, The Rights of Children in Education. If you write to me, I can send you a copy of this book. I'll probably ask you to pay for the fees for sending it, the transport fees or the posting fees. This book answers every question that every parent who had hyperactive children have asked me. And if I was getting the same questions over and over, so each question you're going to ask me, the answer is in the book, because you're not going to ask me a question I've never heard. And I've given all the answers for that. So the main answer here is nutrition. There are other things that you can do with the hyperactive children. The symptoms that the children display sometimes have got to do with study problems. I'll give you some answers to that. Parenting, environment, all these are things that you can take care of. But the first thing, you have to take care of nutrition. I trust you've learned something. I trust I've given you hope that something can be done about your child. Your child is normal. Your child can be relaxed, can be focused, can concentrate, and you do not have to be faced with all the hyperactivity that probably is frustrating you because maybe you didn't know what to do. Now you know. Thank you for listening, and I trust to hear from you, and I really would like to hear that you've helped your child and the child has become better and is not turned into becoming a drug addict. If your child has been on drugs, I have contacts, I have a network of health professionals, doctors, pharmacists, homeopaths in the areas that you are, that can help wean the child off. It's dangerous to get off the drugs immediately. If the child hasn't been on drugs for long, then it could be okay, but if they've been long on drugs, withdrawal symptoms can be dangerous. So we have doctors who have weaned people off drugs, so that also can happen. That's all for now. Thank you for listening, and good luck.